Yo, this is MegaManFan, and you need to rock and or roll on over to Mr. MegaManFan's YouTube channel, because it's all that rush to make it happen. Peace!
Welcome back to the Retro Hunting Adventures with Mr. MegaManFan. I have a stack of 4 Nintendo DS games here. I've already tested Contra 4, so that won't be done on this episode. But I'm going to test the other 3 and then show you something that's pretty special to me. And let's start with X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I picked up from Ben's Game Zone in Ralston. Thank you very much, Ben. You are a champion in my eyes, and you have a wonderful store. If you're in the area, please check it out. This DS randomly tells me to do system updates. I've never, ever figured out why, because nothing ever seems to change when I do these system updates. I certainly didn't see any difference from the time I turned it off to the time it reset itself and turned itself back on, but whatevs. Let's just get on with the testing, shall we? Here's X-Men Wolverine. I don't know exactly what I was expecting when I picked up this game. I really thought it would be some sort of action game. What I didn't realize would it be a lot of cutscenes with a lot of text that I would have to scroll through. I hit the button and it's like, "Hi, my name's Logan. I was born a mutant. I have retractable claws." And blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I got tired of it, and I skipped ahead, because enough of that. Let's test the next game. This one I picked up because it was cheap. Not because I have any particular interest in whatever show this was on, I don't know, Disney XD or something. Oh no, it's Nickelodeon. Sorry, my bad. Anyway, let's just make sure it works for the $2 that I spent. Sure seems to be working so far. What is this show about anyway? You'll see why I picked it up in a minute, but it's just not part of my pop cultural lexicon. I think I was way too old. Hollywood Arts. These people are in Hollywood. Oh, this is a touchscreen game. I can't even use the buttons. I have to actually touch the screen. What am I picking here? I'm looking through the camera at my DS, so I don't even know what I'm selecting right now. All I know is she's standing in front of a mirror. Okay, I appear to be getting somewhere now. And she's wearing a clown rainbow wig. And there's some bald guy on the top. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's move on to Clubhouse games. It almost looked like Clue 3 games until I removed the price tag that was on the front there. And as you will see, this one is complete even with a Nintendo Power subscription offer, which is ironic because Nintendo Power no longer exists. Although I do still collect Nintendo Power magazines whenever I can find issues of it. So, there's that. Anyway, let's pay a visit to this clubhouse and see what they have inside. And Nintendo Agenda Clubhouse. And once again, it's a touchscreen game. I actually have to touch the screen to select anything. You know, even on touchscreen games, I wish they would still let you use the crosshairs and the buttons A, B, X, Y, just to use the menus if nothing else, because I didn't feel like popping out the stylus just to try all this stuff, so ended up just doing touchscreen with my finger just to make sure the game worked, which isn't always the most sensitive compared to this stylus, but I've proven that it is a working game, so it's now time to sort them into the piles and show you the A to Z of my Nintendo DS collection. You see Animal Crossing, Bang.io, Brain Age, Cake Mania, Castlevania, Chrono Trigger, Contra, Deal or No Deal, Deep Labyrinth, Diner Dash, Exit, Final Fantasy, and let's get down to the letter G somewhere. Oh, Game & Watch, Guitar Hero, Henry Hatsworth, Impossible Mission, Jonas, Kingdom Hearts. Where's the letter L? Here, Left Brain, Right Brain, The Legendary Starfy, Mario and Luigi for M, Metroid, Minute to Win It, Mr. Driller, New Super Mario Brothers, Over the Hedge, Pac-Man, Phoenix Wright, Move from P to Q, Quick Yoga, Resident Evil, Sonic, Space Invaders, Sims 2, and Super Princess Peach, Tetris, Uno, Victorious, World of Zoo, X-Men, Yoshi's Island, and Zenzi's. A to Z, I have one of each. It's complete. As always, thanks for watching. Hey, I'm Mr. MegaManFan, and this is the Retro Hunting Adventures. If you like it, please subscribe and leave a thumbs up. A comment below is always appreciated as well. We're doing something a little different this week. I'd like to call it Xbox A to Z. Or perhaps if you're from across the pond, you'd say A to Z. The simplest way to understand this is to think of it like a challenge. If you can get every one of the 26 letters in the English alphabet in one game console's library, you've completed the A to Z set. Now, there were a few letters that I was missing when I started this challenge, so where appropriate, I will show you brief clips of the games as I tested them. To start with the letter A, here's And One Street Ball. They make athletic apparel, and they also endorse this Xbox game. Next we have Big Bumpin' for the letter B, one of the Burger King promotional games. They actually sold those for $1 if you went into Burger King and asked. Now, Capcom Classics Collection, that obviously wasn't $1, more like $17.99. And then for the letter D, we have the Platinum Hits version of Dead or Alive 3. E was one of the easier letters because I had a bunch of cheap sports titles I picked up in Texas for $1 each, so ESPN NBA 2K5 will do nicely. I almost bought them just to have replacement cases, but ended up keeping the games anyway. For the letter F, we go with Ford Racing 2. Keep in mind this is not the best game available for each letter, it's just one of each letter from A to Z. This one surprised me when I took on the challenge. I didn't have the letter G, so here's some footage of Greg Hastings' Tournament Paintball. All of the games that I picked up to complete this challenge were incredibly cheap. None were more than $10, even with tax and shipping included. Greg Hastings' Tournament Paintball was on the lower end of things. I think it was $6 at the most, and that includes tax and shipping, and it's pretty obvious why. It's a very standard, fair, first-person shooter game, except you're using a paintball gun instead of a semi-automatic weapon, or a machine gun, or some historically accurate or inaccurate weapon from some war conflict. It's not good or bad, it just is what it is. The letter H was easy enough, just pull out a copy of Halo. It sold me the console, and I'm sure it did for a lot of other people too. I was a little bit trickier, but I managed to do it with the Italian job because you never count the word the when you're alphabetizing. Here's some footage. You'll notice that for footage of each of the games I bought, it's in the original aspect ratio, not scaled up. It's letterboxed, and that's the way I prefer it when playing OG Xbox games. Although someday I may invest in an HDMI cable because I know there's one that works natively with the original Xbox and is supposed to produce a pretty good fidelity picture. You don't have to buy a special kit and hire somebody like Voltar to install it for you. Although Voltar is the man, be sure to check out his recent video demoing how to soft mod a Nintendo Wii U or a Nintendo 3DS. The letter J was easy enough. I've had Jade Empire forever, and it works on more modern Xbox consoles as well. No problems with K for Killswitch either, although it always makes me think of the band Killswitch Engage. My buddy Ryan will appreciate this one. For the letter L, I chose Legends of Wrestling 2. Actually, when I said those sports games were $1, I might have been overstating it, because this one's only 50 cents. I think I got them even cheaper than I remembered. But it counts. Major League Baseball 2K5 is the letter M. Keeping with the sports theme, for the letter N, we have NFL Fever 2002. The letter O was rather straightforward because I had Oddworld Stranger's Wrath and Munch's Odyssey, but I went with Stranger's Wrath. I think Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 is a pretty good representative of the letter P, although I'm sure the original servers are long since offline. If you suspected the letter Q would be a problem, you'd be right, but I found one game for under $10, Quantum Redshift, and bought it on eBay. Here's some footage. Honestly, this one is probably my favorite out of all the ones I picked up for this challenge because it's got a very F-Zero feel to it, particularly my favorite edition, the one on Nintendo 64. And I had a lot of fun playing it just to make sure it worked, so I am no doubt coming back to this one immediately after I'm done making this video. If you want a good racing game, you don't even need to buy it because it starts with the letter Q. I have a feeling Quantum Redshift would give you your fix. I honestly expected to hear the guy counting down 3, 2, 1, go! That's how much it reminded me of F-Zero for Nintendo 64. It was dead on. And I like the graphic effects too. Look at that water splashing up onto your camera as you race around this track. This game has got some really impressive things going on. Wow. And since we're already talking about racing games, the letter R has Rally Sport Challenge in the Platinum Hits Edition. No problems with the letter S either, as I've got Shenmue 2 right here, one of the most divisive series in all of video gaming. I've got the letter T handled with the Tecmo Classic Arcade Collection. I can't resist any console game that compiles together a bunch of arcade games. That's really up my alley. We've got another Platinum Hits Edition coming at you, U for Unreal Championship. I think this should be a staple of any OG Xbox owner's collection. V was another tricky one that sent me back to eBay, but Viet Cong Purple Haze fit the bill for under $10. Unfortunately, I didn't realize there was going to be so much licensed music in this game, so I had to be very, very selective about the footage that I included from trying it out, but when I said that thing before about Greg Hastings' Tournament Paintball being a generic first-person shooter, I don't think you can get more generic than Viet Cong Purple Haze. At least Paintball was different. Another wrestling game for my buddy Ryan. This is WWE Raw, and seriously, don't buy this game. It's terrible. The letter X sent me back to eBay again, but they must have made 10 million copies of X-Men the official game, because this was dirt cheap. I've also got this one on Nintendo GameCube, and from what I can see, it's the exact same game. I can discern no difference between this version and that version, other than maybe the Xbox version has slightly greater graphical fidelity. That's it. Jaeger, I got this one out of a bargain bin for $1, and honestly, I've never even played it. That's why most of the shrink wrap is still on it. Last but not least in this A to Z or A to Z challenge was Zathura, which once again sent me to eBay and thankfully was only $7. From what I understand, this is some sort of spin-off of the Jumanji franchise, although I have never seen this movie, and I'm not sure the game gives me any incentive to go out and see it anytime soon. It just happened to start with the letter Z. There's no Zelda game on the Xbox, and even if there was, you couldn't classify it under the letter Z because it would be The Legend of Zelda, so it would have to start with L. Or if you're going to be super pedantic and not disclude the word the, then it would have to start with T, but I think we've already concluded from the Italian job that the doesn't count. And if it does to you, then you can disregard this entire video and the point I made of trying to collect a collection from A to Z. But this is not the first system I've done it for. This is just the latest system I've done it for. There's only a few that have absolutely stifled me in this A to Z quest. Q, the word Q for quest. Q really sticks in my craw on a lot of these systems. There is no GameCube game that starts with the letter Q. If there had been a port of Quake, then that would have solved the problem, but sadly there never was. So GameCube is one that can't be completed. Even by going to PAL games, even by going to Japanese games, you cannot find any GameCube game that starts with a Q. I can't see anybody in the 2020s releasing a GameCube game that starts with Q for the limited amount of people that would buy it for that very specific purpose, so it'll just have to stay that way. I'm Mr. Mega Man Fan, and as always, thanks for watching.